Hi, my name's Kirsty Page, and in this short recording, I want to build on some of the things that we have already spoken about in relation to language-based play and pretending. But what I want to do is I want to pick up the slightly higher level value of small world play as being a significant part of my writing preparation diet, but also to sit alongside the early, more formal teaching of writing in reception and beyond, and also the importance of pretend play, which particularly creates opportunities for my children to give characters a voice, and to develop their own characters too. So I'm not going to reduplicate and talk about how this is really important for symbolic development and idea generation, which are important for writing. We've kind of done that already in other kind of recordings. We're going to build on that here. But what I want to talk about is that small world play and character-based play, which could be kind of role play, for example, creates really valuable experiences for children to develop, particularly early narrative skills. And it could be that these are opportunities to retell and act out a story that we have shared together, because we have props and resources in the learning environment that lend themselves well to be used to retell, for a child to retell a story that we have shared together. Or it could be that when we're using kind of small world and characters, they develop the really crucial skill, which is where I begin to make up my own stories. But they lend themselves very well to developing not just sequences of actions, but sequences of language, which will then build into what we would call narrative skill. They also create really valuable opportunities for me as a child, or for me as an adult, to model to a child, giving a character a voice. Now, that will be me not just giving a running commentary of what is happening, but me beginning to intersperse that little story that I'm creating with little bits of spoken language as the character says something. And of course, that's really important for writing, because later on, when those elements appear in my writing, I will also have to learn that we need to put some speech marks around them. But from a language point of view, not only is it building my narrative skill, the other thing that it's doing is, and excuse the winter sunshine here, is I'm building pragmatic skills, which is where I am putting myself in the shoes of this little play person, or I am putting myself in the shoes of this puppet that I am using, and I am giving that character a voice. And giving characters a voice will be probably one of the first ways I truly put myself in somebody else's shoes. And also, by giving me opportunities to do that, you will in turn nurture and further enhance that skill. And as well as just talking about what that person is doing and what that person kind of might be saying, oh hello, that as time goes on, and as my language and as my pragmatic skills develop, my social communication skills develop, I can also begin to think about how that character might feel, or that interplay between the characters, how what one person has said might affect what that person does or how that person feels. And again, how we can then solve problems or predict what's going to happen next, or think about what needs to happen to resolve that situation, for example. So this is about very strong writing experiences, but this is also about very, very strong social communication and pragmatic experiences. So, of course, we've all got access to small world play, but included in that, I'm thinking about role play, where children take on a role. They may or may not dress up as part of that role, but the important thing is that they're beginning to inhabit another role and another person's thinking, and giving that person a voice. But also, we might have puppet material here as well. And I think when it comes to puppets, it's important naturally to put out puppet material that creates retelling opportunities, puppet material related to a story that we've just been sharing and talking about a lot, so that the puppets act as symbols to represent characters in the story that we've been sharing, but they also prompt that retelling by being a physical object in the environment. Don't forget the value of letting children create their own puppets, so from a creative and a fine motor experiences, to kind of make them themselves or make some of them themselves. And again, that could be creating characters that are from a story that we have shared together, that somebody else has written, and the child has listened to it and understood, and now is using these puppets as an opportunity to retell that story. But we shouldn't forget the value as well of giving children the ability to make up their own characters. So obviously, in things like small world play and role play, the characters that children can create are in some way limited by the small world that we have, or by the dressing up clothes that we have or that we don't have. But even within that, there's still plenty of scope for children to use their own creative thinking. But again, I think when it comes to doing things like creating puppets, we can maybe give children a story structure, a very simple story structure, where we've told them a story, and there might be a character in there that is a creature, for example. But we're not saying, and the creature looks like this and is like this and has these features and has this type of personality. We're just introducing the idea that there is a character that is a creature. I wonder what your creature is going to be. And I think giving children that scaffolded structure, where you give them a very, very partial little start of an idea, but you then give them the ability to develop and create that themselves. So they might not be ready yet to tell a full-blown story all by themselves, but what they have got the ability to do is to generate an idea and to formulate a character, which then can be used to sort of act out simple sequences and simple narratives. So this is so important as part of my pre-writing diet, but also so important in reception, to keep these things going on alongside the more formal teaching of letter formation and phonics so that I'm aware of the breadth of writing skills that I'm going to need to continue to nurture, because I'm going to need children to have that language base of writing ready and waiting in the wings when we move on beyond writing at letter and phonic and word level. And again, although dictation is a strong part of many people's early teaching of writing, I need to be aware of developing these skills alongside, because I want my children in the future to do far more than just be able to write down what somebody else has said. And that in Key Stage 1, particularly where writing is an ongoing focus, do my children still have opportunities to exercise these skills, to work towards next steps with language and narrative and imagination skills outside of writing? That's so important, that I see this as a bottom-up preparation idea, but then to sit alongside the more formal teaching, but that by sitting things alongside it, I'm really sitting alongside it lots of opportunities to fill the gaps, which are the real barriers for children finding certain elements of writing tricky. Well, this video comes with newsletter 4. If you're interested in CPD for yourself and your team outside of the newsletters, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. But yes, in this newsletter, we will talk about other types of play as part of our writing repertoire too. Thanks for your time.